Woo! Man. Good after. Ooh, Jesus. Good afternoon. Or good evening, I should say. This is the Michael Ryder Show. Happy Friday, July 30th, 2021. So, I don't know how you all feel. Me, had a pretty good day today. Can't really complain. Got some good college football to talk today. As you guys all know, Texas and Oklahoma today have officially accepted their invitation to the SEC. So I'm not going to talk too much about them. Out of the last couple of times I've talked about them, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about them whenever it does happen. They might come up periodically throughout the show, but, anyways. So I hope you all had a great day today. It's the weekend. Whoa, thank God. But anyways, what I really want to talk about today mostly is the Big 12, and I want to talk a little West Virginia because I've been getting asked about it. What are their chances of getting the ACC? Well, first off, let's start with that because it's gonna go into what I'm going to say about the Big 12 in total. Because I think right now the chances of West Virginia. Now, let me just say this real quick before I do get into this, and I don't want to come off the wrong way. Because do I think West Virginia geographically is a great fit? Yes. Do they have natural rivals? Yes. Used to play Pitt, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, Boston College. You can even say Miami even. Okay, great fit. I would say that they are a perfect fit for the ACC. Perfect fit. But, and there's an article here to my left, what The Athletic wrote. Great article if you can read it. And basically, what this entails is I understand that West Virginia fans want in the ACC. I understand they want to be able to play those teams again. Yeah, I think it's great for college football, especially after what we've been losing, especially last decade. We don't have the backyard brawl anymore. We don't play Pitt, we don't play Virginia Tech anymore. There's also with Missouri, Kansas, or there's other rivals out there that go by the wayside. They don't get the name recognition of some other rivalries out there. But I think they'd be a perfect fit. I really do. But there's a strong but to that. Okay? Excuse me. Does the ACC want West Virginia? Right now, no, they do not. And I've watched other ACC fan bases talk about West Virginia. I've seen them. A lot of people do want West Virginia. But the main thing that comes up each time is, what does West Virginia bring to the table? Okay, I understand West Virginia has a solid athletic department across the board. Okay, you have a solid football team. You're not going to compete for championships year in, year out. And you're going to win a couple games, and I think that will improve. Basketball team, is very consistent. 20+ win season. You got one of the best in Bob Huggins. Okay, baseball team from 10 years ago to now, night and day difference. Facilities, night and day difference. All across the board. Football, basketball, baseball, everywhere. Even swimming. There's a new swimming facility coming up. Okay? Outside of that, and a solid fan base as well. Very, very rabid fan base. They love their Mountaineers. But outside of that, realistically, what does West Virginia bring to the table? Nothing. I hate to say it like that, but right now, what does the ACC get out of bringing West Virginia into the conference? Just West Virginia. What, they're just going to have to, it's just another mouth to feed. Honestly, that's what it is. Now, who's to say down the line they figure out what's going on? Because right now, there's so much, we don't know what's going to happen. But as it looks right now, no, it's not a possibility. Do I want to be wrong? Yes, I want to be wrong. I want West Virginia in the ACC. I really do. I think I feel bad for WVU. I feel bad for a lot of the Big 12 schools, especially after all this happened. You don't know what's going to happen, but I'm thinking of it. I don't think it'll happen right now. Now, if say you get a Notre Dame to join, where somehow you get another big school, and then you could bring West Virginia on along to kind of offset the cost a little bit, because right now the revenue would not go up. You make more money right now in the Big 12 than you would in the ACC. If you would have been picked up 10 years ago or 15 years ago, you'd be making more money right now where you are than you would in the ACC. Now, like I said, I hope I'm wrong. And I hope, in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, if this does happen, if it ever does, you can say I was wrong. But as it stands right now, I don't want to get false hope, because when has the ACC ever wanted West Virginia? Okay, for the last 15 years, a lot of the fan base has trashed the ACC, especially after the first go around with conference realignment. Okay. And like I said, I want them in the ACC. The Big Ten's not going to come calling. First off, that's not going to happen. Now, if I am West Virginia, along with the other 7 Big 12 schools, okay, what I would do here, let me get my glasses on here. If I am one of the 8 Big 12 schools, I would stick together. You have got to trust each other when it comes to this, okay? Think about it. Oklahoma and Texas, they have until, technically, they would leave June 30th, 2025 will be their last day, okay? That's not going to happen. We all know they're not going to stay, okay? So guess what? You get a nice little payday out of that. That's 75 to 80 mil a piece. They can pay it, all right? So there's that, okay? And even if they wanted to leave, even if any school wanted to leave, no other school besides Texas and Oklahoma can pay that exit fee. No one. I don't care. I just do not see it. Now, if I am one of those 8 schools, to my point here, you have to stick together. Hear me out on this, because if you stick together, okay, you are guaranteed to make the same amount of money that you are right now. So you're making 37. Each school, I think, made 37 mil each year from last year. You'll make that again, even if Texas and Oklahoma are not in the league, because you're still contracted to that. Okay, so there you go. There is that, and you're getting a nice little payday from those 2 schools leaving, and with the college football playoff expanding, and that's not going to be until at least 2022, 2023. Guess what? All you got to do is win. All you have to do is win that conference championship and somehow be ranked higher than a lot. Yes, the ACC will get a lot of those schools, and they would have before, regardless if Oklahoma and Texas would have win or whoever win. Okay? What drives this right now is money and the college football playoff. It's all about cashing into that. And I think their best chances is to stay the course, because right now, I don't care. I don't think there's any attractive Big 12 school right now. I really don't. I really, really don't. If Kansas had a pulse of a football team, yeah, you could say that they go to the Big 10. Iowa State, negative. What else have you done? I mean, you've been solid the last couple of years. Your basketball teams, they've been all right. You got no base, but you got nothing there. We talked about West Virginia. Oklahoma State is maybe probably the next best attractive team. Okay. Other than that, Baylor, TCU, I just don't see it right now, and things could change with the Pac-12 or the Big Ten or whatever happens there. But as it stands right now, none of those schools are attractive to anyone right now. It's just not happening. Okay, so you stick together, and if you could somehow poach, if you could poach, say like a BYU, you could go after Cincinnati. I understand that. First off, I want us to say this: the Big 12 cannot replace those 2, Oklahoma and Texas. Impossible. Okay, let's go and throw that out the way. I don't want to make this sound like replacing them with BYU and Cincinnati is going to bring it back. It's not. So if I'm them, you go after a BYU. BYU's got a name. It's not a Texas-Oklahoma name, but it's got a name to it. Cincinnati's been playing really good ball, and even back in the Big East days, they were one of the 3 that got left from the Big East after all that expansion. Them, South Florida, and Connecticut. If you could even, and after that, it kind of gets foggy. For me, it does. You could say Memphis name gets thrown around. Central Florida gets thrown around. The only problem with Central Florida is, or South Florida even too, is I understand they're in the Tampa and Orlando market, but they don't own that market. They don't own it. I mean, if you're down there, it's probably more Florida State, Florida, Miami than it is Central Florida and South Florida. Okay? So, but those are viable options, I guess, if you're the Big 12. But after I said, after BYU Cincinnati, it gets a little dicey. Now, unless you could poach somehow, maybe someone from the Pac-12, whatever happens down the road with them, maybe. You could, somehow look into like an Arizona or maybe a Colorado. I don't know if they would even leave. They probably wouldn't. But for the sake of conversation, I think the way the Big 12 has to do, first off, I'm changing the name too. Get rid of the Big 12 name. Because that's just, for some reason, you just got to change that up. Change it up. Get some other teams in there. Get the best possible teams that you can get. Don't just go out and like, okay, we're going to pick these teams up. You got to get those other teams that that you think could viable, especially BYU Cincinnati. Outside of that, like I said, it gets dicey. Now real quick too. I also wanted to talk about it was the OU Texas. Because yesterday when I made the video, I myself didn't know how I felt with it. I've been thinking about it last week ever since it really all happened, ever since it went down. And is this best for the sport? I mean, this is where it's going. Me personally, I don't think it is. But hey, we could be wrong. But, I have mixed feelings on it. I want to wait and see what happens. I'm not the type that's gonna give like a doomsday or anything, but I mean, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not the end of the world. If you're a Big 12 school, listen, your best option right now, like I said, is stick together, stay together. And now, if Bob Bowlesby can somehow keep those people together, we'll see. But you really feel, honestly, the economic impact of the Big 12 communities. As you can see here on the screen, let me get my glasses here. It's a big economic impact, as you can see. I mean, we're talking in the billions here, and these are for the communities. So just for Waco, Lubbock, and Fort Worth, I mean, there could be a negative economic consequence. They forecast loss of nearly $400 million in lost economic activity. That's accounting up to almost 5,300 jobs for these communities. And under the scenario that the Big 12 would cease to exist, it would be up to $570 million of economic activity and 7,600 jobs. Now, for a total loss of all Big 12 communities, you're looking around $1.3 billion. Now, and that's where we want to, we're going to start, wrapping this up. It's just, you really feel for those communities more than anything in this whole thing. I understand, like I always said, the Big 12, if they stay together, they can still make it to the playoff. Now, would they be, one of the best conferences? Probably not. But you would make decent money. You're probably making anywhere between 10 to 20 mil. And you feel for the communities, though. You really do. You think about, Waco, you think about Morgantown, you think about all those places that a lot of this money has been coming into. I mean, look at West Virginia, for example. If it wasn't for the Big 12, they wouldn't have that baseball field. They wouldn't have a lot of the upgrades. So those areas you really feel for. Nothing's going to change on the field. It's just the money. The money's not going to come in. You're going from probably 37 to probably down to anywhere between 10 to, $20 million. And that's going to take a hit. You're not going to be able to keep good coaches for long. And so we'll see. You really hate to see it, but there's going to be a lot more coming around. I really do. And there's a lot more news coming. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We could sit here and speculate all night. But, like I said, stick together. I'm going to say it again. because that's your best option right now. Because right now it's going to be hard to find somewhere unless, I know something. I don't know something that someone else does that these schools do. But, I mean, from the outside looking in, it's your best option is probably to stick together. But, hey, we'll see. All this could change tomorrow. We don't know. There could be something else. There could be something else come out next week. There could be something else come out next month. But, hey, football is right around the corner, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun this year. Especially if you're a Big 12 school, enjoy it. It's not all coming to an end. But, hey, I'm looking forward to it. But, hey, I'll see you all next time on the next episode. You guys have a great weekend. Stay safe out there, and talk to you later.